Welcome back to another episode here on the Hart and Hustle podcast, alongside John Frost, that decided to just come in with the most I don't know if my camera's good. See, at some point I thought my cameras were good, but what's going on, man? Where are you located right now? What school you representing? Let us know what your title is, all that good stuff.
Yes. Hey, thanks first and foremost for having us on the show today. My name is John Frost, the Vice President of Enrollment Management for Doane University. And we're coming out of Crete, Nebraska, only about 45 minutes away from Lincoln, Nebraska, and about an hour away from Omaha. So we're excited to be here today.
Born and raised?
No, I'm born and raised in North Carolina. We play a little basketball down there, but I've been in Nebraska for pretty much majority of my adult life.
I love it, my brother. And as I speak to a lot of people in this enrollment space as well, I would say all you guys have a unique story how you even got there. Because it's not something that someone goes to college for and says, I want to go do that. But you find people that kind of say, hey, there's something here that you may want to look into. And for you, it all started a little different, man. You actually were a TV news reporter. How did you go from there and make a huge pivot to higher ed?
Great question. Like you mentioned, and you nailed it. You hit the nail right on the head. I did not go to college to go work at a college. That was not the game plan. However, when I was working in journalism, I had the great fortune of meeting and working with people, sharing people's stories. I mean, we all are attracted to stories. And the thing that really impacted me was that, working in the news, being able to go to, unfortunately, a car accident or, somebody's house get on fire or a mayor budget or a fundraiser. I couldn't do anything to influence the story. I just told the story, right? But then when I transitioned to higher education, again, I still wanted to work with people, but I just wanted to do it in a different capacity. And so when I moved into higher education, I started out my career as a recruiter. And I did not really realize what I was doing until I met with a young lady who was a single mom. And she was telling me about her career goals and why she wanted to go to college. And then by the time we was wrapping up with the conversation, she got teary-eyed. And of course, I'm like, "Oh, snap, what did I do wrong?" Like, why is she about to cry? Like, I'm about to get fired, you know? And then she told me, she looked up at me and she was like, "You're the first person that ever told me that I can do this." And that's when I realized what I get to do. And that's the thing that's always led me in my career is at the end of the day, no matter what the program is, no matter about even the university sometimes, it's still about people. And it's connecting with people and uplifting people with information and inspiration.
I love it, man. The power of stories, right? From a journalist background, just also the power of stories, seeing someone that may look like you, hearing someone that may sound like you, all that's also such a big factor, man. And I love that you were able to find still that passion, but then also mix it in with the purpose. It's not about paychecks, right? We're not doing this for the money. We're doing this because we want people to win.
Yes.
Where's this kind of giving background, this pouring back into humans? Because that's what we're doing, right? Pouring back into humanity. Who's
Yes.
teaching you that? How is all that coming to you?
Well, you know what? Only thing I can speak on is understanding first and foremost what education has done for me. I mean, I was a tall, skinny kid from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, who thought he was going to go to the NBA, and I was fortunate enough to play a sport that allowed me to get my education paid for. But the good news is once I got to college, I realized that okay, I'm not going to the NBA, but what else can I do, right? And what else can I contribute? And I always had a passion of being able to be social, working with people, talking about people's dreams, aspirations, things of that nature. And so that's what obviously led me into journalism. But again, just like working in higher education, the one thing that I always try to tell people, people ask the question of why should I go to college or why should I do these things? Well, it's very simple. It works. It works. If it wasn't for a college opportunity, who knows where I can be? I mean, I probably would have been somebody that worked a job and did the best I could, but I wouldn't have been able to have the experiences that I did have by being in a residence hall and meeting people from different areas, by having different conversations, understanding different people's passions. The good thing that I've always said that I felt like I always had was curiosity. And curiosity allows me to learn. And when you learn things, it allows you to have the opportunity to apply it to your life and your skills and your dreams. And that's what college gets to do for me. And that's where my passion lies is that uh, being able to provide people with opportunities to grow, to be the best version of themselves. That's at the end of the day what I want to do. Is not only share the stories, but allow to influence the stories to get people to where they want to be.
Love it, man. Were you doing this? I was actually doing TV productions in high school. Were you doing anything similar to like journalists, productions, or anything in high school?
You know what's funny? I didn't.
Really?
I mean, I don't want to put my age out there, but when I went to high school, and I went to a high school, they had like the little, high school newspaper, things like that, but I was playing ball, so I wasn't even thinking about anything like that. And again, going back to college, I mean, I was fortunate enough to have somebody to say, "Hey, have you ever thought about journalism? Have you ever thought about, essentially getting paid to talk?" I'm
Yeah,
like, "They
yeah.
do that?" And so being able to have somebody to support me like that and guide me in that direction, obviously it changed my life.
Yeah. That's huge you say that, man. I loved always. I was the guy doing TV morning announcements. You see my face
Oh,
on the tour, and always knew that I loved it. But it goes back to I didn't know that there was this journalist, field I can go into. I just loved having conversations and being able to still create these platforms where we can really have conversations like this. And when you grow up, you always knew you want something. You want. I used to tell myself I want to be a host, and one day I'm gonna be on a big stage. And look at the stage I got here. I got
come
John
on
Cross
now.
on the stage, man.
Hey, yeah, let's
I got
go.
Doane Frost on the stage. But I ask you, man, was it somebody? Because I always say there's one story, one moment, and a person that could really change your life. So back to that journalist, because you mentioned, and I don't know if you brought it up, but it was somebody to ask you a question that really made you to think differently. Like, how important is it also good people that see um, more in you than sometimes you see in yourself?
Yes, that's a great question. I would say, throughout my life, I've always been fortunate to have people that challenge me. That challenge, like, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? Where do you want to go? Do you feel like you're reaching your potential? Of course, you get that when you play a sport because you're always being challenged. But when it comes down to life, right? Like, what are you going to do? Even growing up in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, somebody saying, This is where you're going to be the rest of your life, or are you going to see the rest of the world? Are you going to do different things? But even going back to your question, with somebody, and again, it happened at a college campus, having somebody to see, to your point, something in me that I didn't see in myself by being social, not afraid to speak up, not afraid to when I did public speaking one on one, we all know that's one of the greatest fears that people have is public speaking. But I loved that class. Like I was like, what y'all scared of? And unfortunately, I guess my mindset was, well, if somebody's gonna be up here and talking, it might as well be me, But nevertheless, I mean, having somebody to say, "Hey, have you thought about these things?" was such a game changer for me because I did not think about it. I mean, yes, I had people that I watched growing up, like Ahmad Rashad, Bryant Gumbel, people like that, people of color that was in journalism, but not necessarily realizing like, how do I get there? How do you go to? You can go to college for that. You can create this skill set, take this natural talent and create it to a skill set. I didn't understand that. And so with that question, not only did it provoke me to be curious, but it also provoked change.
I love that. And we talk about change, man. You mentioned you called college actually a magical place. You
Yes.
said students arrive as one person and cross the stage as another. What actually happens within those 4 years, man, that creates that change that we're talking about?
Well, I love that question. If you start college one way, you end the same way, we all failed. Um, the thing about college, what happens is that transformation. Not only from an academic point of view, but especially if you have that traditional experience as well, being able to, like I mentioned, be in a residence hall and meet and talk with different people. In our society right now, there's a lot of things that you can't talk about in a public space, but in college, that's what you do. At a university, that's what you do. I mean, I was fortunate enough throughout my career to sit in certain classrooms just to listen to what's going on. And one thing I can tell you is that the type of conversations that are taking place are powerful. I mean, I know social media gets a lot of, you know, is highlighted a lot because you have people, you have the keyboard gangsters that go in there and post something, but they're not really having a conversation. They're just posting an opinion, right? But in a classroom to have challenge debate, right, which is good to have people to challenge your point of view and also challenge what you're thinking and what you're saying That's what it should be because it's getting you prepared not only to be a professional, but just in life. I mean, if you have a spouse, if you have a close relationship, you're probably going to have a decent argument sometimes, but not arguing to be right, but arguing to get it right. I think is what college allows you to be able to do is to speak about facts, not just sharing your opinion, but talking about how did I get these facts? Where did these facts come from? I'm not just pulling them out the sky. But nevertheless, there's the classroom experience, there's the social experience, there's the self-reflection that college allows you to have also. So when you whatever town, city, country you may be from, when you go back on Christmas break or when you go back on spring break, you get the opportunity to kinda like, "Hold up, I know I used to think this way, but now that I've seen things a little different, I can come back and share that with people." So that combination of all those things, I think, helps with that transformation process, and by the time you walk across that stage, you're not the same individual.
I love that. And you know what? I've had so many conversations recently with people in the space of just going to college. And I'm one that had a job, and I did go eventually to college. And I didn't have the experience of it changing my life per se. But as I'm here as an adult, right, 36 years old, I sit here and realize how crucial college really truly is. And not just so much for that degree, but even for the experience. Because I'm kind of left now as we talk about resources and really allowing people, meeting people where they're at. It's like, let's be honest, that transition from high school and you not going to college is actually really hard. Like that
Mhm.
college does help you still transition from what that adulthood per se, because we think we're adults, right? And college does give us that boundary and say, nah, you still got some growth to do. But like you mentioned in college, man, and having still those resources, still those people that believe in you. Because a lot of times, man, we're leaving home at 18 years old, and there's nobody there to really navigate life for us, right? We just kind of say, hey, a lot of us leaving trauma, a lot of us leaving experiences that we just want to do better in, but we don't have that person. And
Yes.
now I'm starting to see the benefit of a college. It's not just to go further your education, but it is still continue to surround yourself with people just like you, with
Mhm.
people that actually want to pour back into you. John Frost, you didn't have to leave, where you left as a TV news reporter. You wanted to really pour back into the next generation. I think it's so cool. I actually heard a another leader say, "Fertilizing the future" is what you guys are doing,
I like that.
right? It
I
is so
like
true,
that.
man, and when you hear that, like, what are some of the stories that you've heard of people coming in, maybe first gen, maybe, just afraid that they couldn't do it? And I think not even speaking to just our young generation, but there's people that 30, 40 years old go back. Tell some of those stories, John, because we don't know who we're
Man.
inspiring when we're having these convos.
Man, so I can give you a nice example of a young lady. She started college. I was fortunate enough to help recruit her. She started college and wound up getting her associate's degree, right? Which provoked her spouse to go back to school because her spouse went back to school. Then she moved on to get a bachelor's degree. By the time she got done with her bachelor's degree, her daughter decided to go to college. So what I'm trying to say is that she provided a blueprint that they didn't know was available,
Yeah.
right? And because mama did it, it made it easy for, the husband to do it. And which then made it a little bit more like it was if they did it, why can't I do it? I mean, the inspiration of starting and finishing something is so powerful because I think sometimes that's what we miss out on. Like there's always the celebratory nature of, hey, I started college. And then also the celebratory nature that I finished college. But knowing how to follow through with it, right? On those hard days, those terrible Thursdays, tumultuous Tuesdays, those wild Wednesdays, Monday madness. I mean, all those things are real because you got to keep going. You got to keep going. And seeing that, I think is such an inspiration. And being able to see essentially a whole family start college because mama came in one day and said, today is my day. That's what's so powerful. That's what it gets to do. And not only and I agree, it's never just about, hey, just the academics. It's also learning accountability, right? It's being able to see that. And then I also tell people, there's two other things that I always try to share with people about college. And I always say it's the can, right? It's community, it's academics, and then there's networking. That ability to network is also pivotal because that same lady that I'm talking about was at a quote unquote, you could say a dead end job. She wasn't moving forward. and she was just like, "Hey, I want more out of this than what I'm doing." And because of that, it provoked her to not only get a different job, but she made a lot more money. She wound up getting into leadership, and she was sharing her story, and here's the kicker. We wound up making an agreement with her company to have more people to go to school. So because that one individual started school, it provoked several other people that we didn't even know
Yeah.
to come to school. So going back to fertilizing that future, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
if it wasn't for that one lady, who knows what could have happened? But because she did it, I mean, look at the roots and the fruit from that tree that she planted by starting school again.
I love it. I mean, you are definitely a good speaker. I mean, I just want you to know that the way that I'm saying, like, yo, come on now, you really out here talking. I want to go back to everything you just said. Really comes back to what you first said when we had that first conversation, which is higher education is one of the few things left in our society that can really create that opportunity for people who don't already have it, right? And that's
Yes.
really exactly kind of that example. Man, that's actually a cool story because I say the only reason I've done business and I've obviously done, some education. I'm like 2 classes away from getting an AA degree,
Let's
but
go.
I've been able to do I gotta finish it,
Let's
but, the
go.
reason I wanna finish it is what you mentioned is that I want my kids to see that dad did this or dad did this, right? People don't know, if they don't see it, right? And then
Yes.
if you wanna lead by example, that woman led by example, and look at the people that actually followed in her to realize she's a leader. Like, a lot
Yes.
of times people have leadership in them, don't even know that they're actually leaders. 'Cause
Mm.
no one actually, told them that. I was 19 years old, and I remember a guy I never met a day in my life, and I'm working, because of my life and how my upbringing of adoption, sexual abuse, I was working, I was grinding.
Mhm.
19 years old, this guy comes, he says, "Man, you could definitely be a manager," right? And I'm like, "Me, a manager? Bro, I'm 19 years old, just coming out of high school," and I did. Became I was actually in transition, but I'll tell you where somebody busted my chops as well. It's like, "Hey," I said, "Man, I'm doing this, I'm coming in the morning, I'm coming at nights, I'm ordering trucks." He says, "Man, anybody can do it, even my own kids at 11, 12 years old, but are you doing it right?" And those
Mm.
moments, and we talk about people just pouring into you, man, it's like we need those conversations, right? We think
Yes.
we got it all, and I will remember so many of those moments. John Frost, I can imagine that so many people drop nuggets throughout your life.
Yes.
What are some of those nuggets, man, that keep you going till today that you remember?
Oh, man, that's a good one. Man, it's I mean, the first and foremost, the most important person, other than my wife and my mom was my dad. Uh, my dad was the one that blueprinted a lot of things in my life or those nuggets. I mean, he was an old school, guy who, I'm trying to think of some of the sayings that are appropriate to say. But I mean, but some of his sayings were just so profound. And when he would say, you need to be a man among men, right? Just those type of things growing up, as like I said, a kid in East Winston, North Carolina, and knowing be a man among men. Don't try to be right, get it right, you know.
Mm,
I'm just trying to think of some of the ones, but he always used to say it's just as simple as the nose on your face. He say, touch your nose. It's just that simple, right? And so it's all those different things that he had poured into us. Cause like he always used to tell me growing up, he said, I'm not raising kids, I'm raising men. And he always used to say that. He said, my job is that you at some point you will always love me, but you're not gonna always need me. And so it's things like that that stuck in my mind. And also that he would just say, if things are hard, that's okay because you're capable of making it easy at some point. So it's all those different things that as we go through life, as you go through certain things that my dad passed about 12 years ago, but I always hear him in my head throughout my life, throughout things that, I've accomplished and also when I failed, right? I mean,
mhm.
I think a lot of times it's great to celebrate those accomplishments, but sometimes when you fail, or sometimes when you lose, it's not an L because you lost, it's an L because it's a lesson. So then you
Yes.
can come back and say, "Oh, I know how to do that now," and move it in the right direction. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to have some decent mentors as well, that taught me about business, that taught me about professional society and how to navigate that. But at the
Yep.
end of the day, it all starts with my pops. And so that's a shout out to him wherever he may be in the universe that,
Yeah.
I'm here with you today and I'm getting there to spit some of the bars that he shared with me from back in the day.
I love it, and that one of, don't look at it as a loss, look at it as a lesson. I
Yes,
had a mentor tell me that too, man. I was 27 years old. I had closed my first business, and I was 27 years old, man. I'm like 23, 24, closing a business, and I'm trying to find angels investors. Like I can't get, I can't lose, man. My friends are watching, right? We leaving high school. My friends been watching. Come on, man. What an idiot I was. But and he said that. He said, "Yo, you ain't losing. Take that lesson that you learn from this, and it just implied into whatever you're going to do into the next journey." And I'm like, and from that point
absolutely.
on, it's always been easier to close businesses or move on to the next and pivot, realizing, listen, it wasn't a loss, right? Like in
Yes,
life, man, if we look back at it, there was a lesson that we learned through the trauma, through the hurt, through the good and through the bad, right?
yes,
There's so many lessons to actually learn, and when we actually sit here and think about it, it is those cliche things, man. I was talking to my neighbor as we working out, and I'm like, man, that cliche stuff of it's the mind, the body, the soul.
yes,
And
sir.
we heard that as kids, and it's just corny, right? But it is that, right? Like it is the mind, the body, and the soul. If you take care of those things, and that's where the college level really the different people you meet, realizing, man, we're all alike. We all have stories. Even though this person may come from a different country, sometimes people come from a different country, and you realize, like, man, what am I so caught up on? Look at this.
Yes,
Look at how this person could live at peace with nothing. You know what I'm saying?
yes.
Or with things that I didn't have. So it's pretty cool, man. What are some of the things that unique about the university that you guys are at? What are the things that people
Man,
talk about all the time, man?
yes, yes. Doane University is a wonderful place. We've been around for 153 years. We was one of
Okay.
the first universities to do a lot of dynamic things in the great state of Nebraska. We have great opportunities. I mean, every school that you hear says, "Oh, we're wonderful," and we do. We build leaders. That's what we do. We build leaders. We build people that are going to fertilize the future. I'm taking that term. I'm telling you, I'm taking that term. Who fertilize the future? Who's going to make an impact? Who's going to be part of whatever type of era that we in right now? The folks that are graduating from Dawn are going to be the people that's going to bring us to the next era, but not just bring us there, but to elevate humanity. And that's what Dawn University is doing. We have over 35 programs. Obviously, we have graduate programs. We have the opportunity for you can do things online, in person, hybrid. Also, if you're not even looking for a degree, but you're looking for additional courses to take, we have non-degree seeking opportunities for you. I mean, I can go on and on. Obviously, we have the opportunity in athletics. We are an NAIA school, so we have GPAC. We're in the GPAC conference, and we have several teams that have won national championships, conference championship. Uh, we have we have a national champion women's wrestler that's at our school. And she was
I love
she's
it.
another one of those people that as she came into Doane University, her grades wasn't the greatest. She was one of those people that, colleges take a chance on, and she just have done really great things. So again, Doane University is a place where a lot of great things are happening that's influencing the future and making the world a better place.
Love it. How big is the university? Like, what is the graduating class? I think you guys are probably graduating now. What does that
Yeah,
look like?
yeah. So we have 2 graduations. So we have one for our quote unquote residential students, and then we have one for our we say non-residential students. Normal graduation class is usually going to range between about 250 to 300 undergrads, but then we also have probably an additional I would say about 40 to 45 that's going to be graduating from our graduate programs. Overall, we're a little under 1,000, probably going to be over 1,000 this year. We've been very successful in our recruitment, marketing, and retention. So not only are we recruiting great students to our university, we're also retaining them and having great persistence in their graduating. So that's another thing that we're really excited about. I mean, we're not a school that's 10,000 or 50,000 or anything like that, and nothing wrong with that. But the one thing about our university is that it's small, it's intimate, and it's built on relationships.
I love that. And when we talk about meeting those kids at where they're at, right, or those students at where they're at, what does that look like on communication? 'Cause I think nowadays the way that we communicate is even different from back when you were probably a student to nowadays. It's like we're not picking up the phones. We're not trying to go to somebody's website. We just trying to go on phones real quick or social media or quick look up.
Mhm.
What does that look like nowadays and how we communicate and how we curate to meet them where they're at?
So I think our secret sauce which isn't a secret because we'll say it to anybody, is the connectivity. Just like you mentioned, yes, it's easy for us to just, have people go to our website and do things like that, in which that happens as well, but we're still really big on having this right here in a conversation. Because at the end of the day, we're not order takers, we're dream makers. And being an order taker, meaning that if I'm talking to somebody and they're interested in criminal justice or they're interested in biology or art, yeah, it's easy for me to say, yeah, yeah, we have art and we have this program.
Yeah.
But a dream maker is gonna say, hey, tell me about what that looks like for you. Why are you interested in art? Why are you interested in biology? It goes back to the start of our conversation. What's your
Mhm.
story? Tell me about why you wanna do this. And when you ask that question, that's when you learn what's inspired them. Because we can always provide information. That's always available, right? That's where you go and look, but can we understand their story and understand what inspires them? So one of the things I always ask students that I serve and serve with is when you walk across that stage, who's the first person you're thinking about? Who's the first person that you wanna hug? Who are you doing this for? Because that's what you're gonna need to have, like we said before, to follow through and finish. Because you don't wanna let those people down. And so and that's what we do. We have these conversations. We want to engage with people. We don't wanna check box it. We wanna see if we can get them on the phone, if we can have a Zoom call. It's great to have email, and granted, some people don't wanna have that. But here's the thing that we're very intentional about providing that option. We're not gonna settle for just, "Hey, I emailed them." No, we wanna have that conversation because we wanna know your story and wanna know what inspires you.
I love that, man. I'm over here thinking like John Frost for president at this point. The way that you just come up with these answers, man, I'm just, you know, I appreciate you, man. Listen, what are your kids? Are they already in college right now? Follow dad's footsteps? What's that
No,
looking like?
my kids 11 and 13, I'm
Pretty
trying to
young.
I'm
Okay.
trying to follow in my dad's footsteps, and I have 2 boys. I'm trying to raise men, right? I'm trying to raise decent human beings. I don't care what they do as long as they're doing something that they're proud of. And so that's what my kids are, you know, 11 and 13. They're active, young athletes, but I also wanna make sure as much as work they put in their athletics, put that in being a good person, being a good role model. Do that as a good friend. Because at the end of the day, the greatest thing that somebody can tell me about my kids is that they're a good person, not that they're a good athlete, not even that they're just a good student. But if they tell me they're a good person, then me and my wife done a good job.
And I mean, definitely done a good job. And being a man in education can imagine is also good representation for them as well. Just showing
Absolutely.
up, right? Like, do you guys have that conversation? Is that something that you even think of?
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, my kids are at that age now where they're curious about their parents now. Like, "What did you
Okay.
do?" Or, "What were you good at?" And things of that nature. And now, I mean, when I was young, I couldn't Google my dad to see what he did or not. But my kids can Google me or my wife and find out, like, well, who were they? What did they do? Because they may hear stories about some of our accomplishments and things of that nature, but the greatest question is, "Why do I do this?"
Yeah.
Right? And so my kids asked that question when they did ask that question. It's like, "Hey, I get to work in education." Now, sometimes they thinking like, "Well, you're not a teacher or anything like that." But it's like, "No, I work in education. I'm part of that process of higher education." Yeah, there's folks that are teachers or faculty members and things of that nature. I'm more on the administrative side. So being able to even articulate to them just the business of higher education and all those different roles. And I sum it up like this too with another thought. Just like when I was in journalism, um, I said, yes, there's only so many people that's going to be on the court or the field because they love sports. But you know how many jobs that are outside of that court and field? And so you can still if you want to be if you wanna work for the NBA, it's more likely that you can work with them doing something off the court than actually being on the court. And that's the same thing with the NFL or MLB. It's like there's several jobs where you can still be connected to sports. You can still be connected to the industry, but there's several different roles, and that's the same thing I say about higher education.
Yeah, that's important you say that too, because a lot of people just want to go chase that, right? The ball player. And it's like you don't gotta be the ball player to one,
Mm-mm.
make money, right?
Yes.
You don't got to be the ball player to work with that company that you've always you dreamed of, and really kind of protect the body. You know, I'm a big
Yes.
wrestling fan. I love wrestling, but I think to myself, man, it's like that's some work that they gotta do, These are
Absolutely.
athletes at the end of the day that also get injured, and they put their body through so much. It's like, I work on the back end, man. I hold a camera, a mic, that's cool, I do that. I do
Yes, yes.
Yeah, John, what do you say to those students who are dragging their feet right now, man, and not sure if college is for them, not sure they can even afford it? I think that's a lot of, people's goes through people's mind, or maybe they just feel like they don't belong. What do you say directly to those students?
Always start with a plan. Always start with a plan. Don't just show up and hope it works out. Start with a plan. Why do you want to go to college? What strikes an interest in there? It may not be that you start at Doane University. It may be that you start with taking a few classes at a community college. It may be that you're taking some online certificates. I mean, the reason why I ask about the plan is if it's college, if it's anything that you want to be good at, what are you willing to sacrifice? Because you can't just do the same thing that you've done before and think that you're gonna get better at something. Something has to come at cost. And so what does that mean to you? I'll be the first person to tell anybody, don't just go to college and spend a whole bunch of money and you have no idea why you're there. So that's why you have to have a plan. What is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to be good at? Again, going back, not that I'm trying to give a shout out to Google or search engines, but those things are tools where, you know what? I like to do X, Y, and Z. What are the careers that I can do X, Y, and Z with? And Google it. See what happens. Same thing with scholarships. There's millions and millions of dollars for scholarships that goes unclaimed because people won't write an essay about themselves and what they want to do, which again goes back to what? Your plan. So once you have a plan, it's going to jumpstart everything else that you feel like you need to do to make that plan a reality. And so that's what I would tell people. If you're dragging your feet, ask yourself, why am I doing that? And if you're scared, that's okay. Have you talked to somebody about that fear? Right? Because what you may be fearing could be something that you're speculating, or it could be a reality, but there's maybe something more to it that to make that not such a fear. So that's what I would say. And just talk to somebody. I think the thing unfortunately, sometimes that we do is that we internalize a lot of things and we don't share what I'm trying to accomplish. So ask somebody that question. Reach out to me if you want to. We'll help you through that process, not necessarily just to go to Dome, because I always tell people I'm a higher education advocate, right? I would love for you to come to Dome, but if Dome is not the best fit, that's okay. We'll figure out the other options. Because at the end of the day, I truly believe in higher education. And I think at the end of the day, if you can work on a plan, we can get you to where you want to go.
Man, I wanna know who is John outside of higher education. What is that thing that keeps you grounded? I mean, is you a fishing guy? You like planting? What is that thing, man, that outside when you gotta turn it off that you say, "You know what? I love this. This brings me peace."
Hey, great question. At the end of the day, first and foremost, I'm a husband. I mean, my wife is my best friend. That's what inspires me. She's made me better. I heard a quote a long time ago. Being with your spouse is just like math. Either they multiplying you or they subtracting you. Hopefully they don't divide you, but hopefully they adding to you. So that's the way. And my wife is. I mean, we've been together for a long time, and she's the greatest thing that ever happened in my life. And hopefully, she'll see this and she'll be able to know that situation. I said that publicly, um, but my wife is what
They still don't
inspired.
believe us, if we say it publicly, they think we just saying it to say it though,
Yeah, that's
John,
true too. That's a good
so
point, but she know I've said it privately too, but my wife is what inspires me and allows me to be who I am and try to be the best version of myself. Of course, my kids, but outside of Doane University, outside of working, I like to smoke meat. I want to be clear. I like to smoke meat. You know, you got to be careful about saying you like to smoke. So, hey, Efren, I just want to be clear. I like to
I
smoke
hear
meat.
you, bro. They'll clip this real quick. They'll clip it real quick.
Yeah, so I like to smoke meat, and I like to hang out with my guys. I like to hang out with my friends. I like sports. I like to debate. I mean, I'm an old school Southern guy. I'm very simple. I just want to have a good time. I go to church. You know, um, do that part. Volunteer. Again, doing my little part to make the world a better place. That's just who I am. And I just want to have a good time and laugh and cut a few jokes and go about my business.
Love it. You say, smoking meat. I got a pit boss. Don't make fun of my pit boss, I plug it
Hey, it's
in.
all good. You got a pit. I ain't gonna say nothing else. I ain't gonna say nothing about your pit bulls. I ain't gonna say nothing about it.
It was free, I would say it was free, but I'm with you though. I love, my friend. He's like, "Man, should I get a grill or a smoker?" And I'm like, Bruh, get both. So there's one that got both of them. So every time we go do barbecuing, he's on the grill and I'm on the smoke over here on this side. So this is my side. Don't touch anything over here. This is gonna be the good side.
Yeah,
So I love that you find peace in that, man. Because sometimes we just gotta remember that yeah, we are leaders and we're definitely making the world a better place. But in order to make others better, we got to make sure we're good. And I'm happy that you find that peace in the family in doing certain things, man. Because that's always that mental health is important. You know, what is
absolutely.
that thing that allows you to just kind of turn off and still feel at peace? Because when
Yes,
we do things like a basketball or you know or like a 9 to 5, sometimes we give it all, man. We forget to pour back into us. And
yes,
especially as leaders, I felt like we were never really taught how to pour into ourselves. We're really good at giving advice. Sometimes we're bad at taking it. So I'm glad that you there, man. You there.
yeah, I
Where can
like
people
that.
find more on what you guys are doing at the school, man? If someone wanted to tap in with you, are you on LinkedIn as well? Are there socials? Give us that info.
Yeah, of course, on LinkedIn, you can look up John Frost, Vice President of Enrollment Management and Marketing. You'll find me there. At the same time, for Doane University, just Google Doane University. You can find our social media platforms. We own, I want to say most platforms: LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat. So please check us out there. And then if you just got any questions, just don't mind hitting us up. I mean, you can Google me, and we'll be able to get in touch. And like I said, this is a great honor and a privilege to be able to do this and be able to chat with you, to talk about some of the good things that we're doing in the world. And we're excited to connect with you if you want to have further discussion.
I love it, brother. I love it. And just because you've been on it this whole time, can we get a drop mic? Like, how do you end us, send us off? Like, I know you got some words of wisdom for
Oh
those that may
man,
like
that's
it.
put me on the spot.
The fact we're gonna talk to a certain audience. Let's talk to those leaders. I was like, yo, John is doing it, man. Let's talk to those leaders that probably right now are having that fear. You know, there's a lot of things going on, man. Let's speak to those people to make sure they understand that we're all united in this space.
That's a good one. Um, just stay motivated. Don't give up. I know that sounds simple. Stay motivated and be a good influence. Things are hard, but things also are good, man. I mean, this is a great time to be in the world. It's a lot of stuff going on, but that's good. That's a challenge, and everybody wants to be the goat. Well, you can't be the goat with something easy. You got to be the goat with something difficult. So let's overcome and not let's quit and fall back. You know, your greatest gift um, is not quitting. It's keep moving forward. So keep moving forward. Keep pushing. Keep fighting because we're gonna get there one way or the other. So stay motivated, stay blessed, and keep pushing.
Love it. That's John Frost. I'm Efrain. Make sure that you guys do like, subscribe, and comment. These conversations just keep getting better. Laters.
Hey.